Yo, welcome to the Blue Lounge. Welcome to the stream. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is having a good evening. We have had a turbulent day today. We have had a turbulent day in regards to news, in regards to Twitter. The football Twitter has been off the rails. Chelsea Twitter specifically has gone crazy. People are all over the place. People are all over the place when it comes to what is going on today. Today we have had some breaking news. We had some news come out last night, and the news that came out today kind of completed the news that came out last night. We had Fabrizio Romano confirming the bid last night, and we've had more talks about Chelsea moving forward for a third and final bid for Romelu Lukaku. It looks like Romelu Lukaku has now become Chelsea's number one transfer target. We have already put in a bid of €100 million plus Marcos Alonso to acquire his signature. That bid has been rejected. €100 million plus Marcos Alonso has been rejected. It looks like Inter Milan are asking for £100 million plus Marcos Alonso. The talk is Chelsea will be putting a bid for Romelu Lukaku in the region of €130 million, which covers the demands and the request of Inter Milan. In regards to Romelu Lukaku, he wants to make the decision in respect to his future. He is the one that will either agree or disagree in respect to moving on. If the bid is approved by Inter Milan, the decision to move on lies with Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku has stated in the past that he is very happy at Inter Milan. Conte left, Inzaghi came in. His position has not changed. His position has been that he is happy at Inter Milan. Inter Milan have financial problems. Lads, I'm laying this out for you, so when we start the debate, you know where we're all coming from in respect to the situation. Inter Milan have financial problems. Those financial problems will be resolved to a large degree with the sale of Romelu Lukaku. Romelu Lukaku is one of the highest paid players at Inter Milan. Romelu Lukaku is also financially related to Manchester United, whereby there is still an outstanding fee of I think €50 million that Inter Milan need to pay Manchester United. With his sale of the wage bill, the financial requirements with Manchester United get paid off. Will be paying them off for Inter Milan. Lautaro Martinez transfer to Arsenal is also in the balance, depending on Chelsea's position in respect to Romelu Lukaku and this transfer. Chelsea have had a bid rejected for Erling Haaland. Chelsea apparently made an unofficial bid last week for Erling Haaland for €130 million, and that bid was apparently rejected. Everything I'm telling you, lads, you can go and check it. I'm not going to show you all the tweets because there's a ton of them. We'll be here all night just scrolling down through the timeline. But everything I'm telling you, you will find it if you Google it, or if you go on Twitter, you'll find it. €130 million bid was turned down by Dortmund for Erling Haaland last week. Unofficial bid. One of those, if we were to offer you this, would you accept or would you not accept? Apparently. It looks like Chelsea have lost patience with Borussia Dortmund after a lengthy negotiation battle and have decided to move on in the acquisition of a striker and go down the Lukaku route. in respect to Borussia Dortmund, the apparent issues was the transfer fee, the signing on bonus, the agent fees, the Haaland fees. There was a lot of fees with Mino Raiola and Haaland's dad, on top of what the club was demanding in regards to the transfer. There is a lot to dissect. The fan base is also very divided in respect to the Romelu Lukaku situation. There are those who support this transaction, and there are those who disagree wholeheartedly in regards to this transaction, because we may be better off without Romelu Lukaku. This is the show where everyone is entitled to have an opinion. We will hear everyone's opinion. We're going to hear people for and against this deal. Before we start to introduce the panel and we start this debate, I want to ask everyone in the chat to please share this stream. You all have social media accounts. Share this stream. Copy and paste the link and just share it. Hit the like button. Let's get as many people in here as possible. And let's have a debate about this breaking story. We're going to be here for a couple of hours, lads. So go grab a drink, get a snack, sit tight and enjoy the show. Let me introduce the panel. We have Julius, Max Burton, Mikhail, and Eric Blue. How are you, lads?
Pick up more.
Good.
How you doing, guys?
We're good. I wanna start by offering my condolences to Max Burton for the loss of a very close family member.
Yes,
Thanks.
all of us.
Yeah, Max, my condolences, my brother, and I hope I mean, this can't be easy, but my thoughts and prayers have always been with you over this period, and I hope that the mercy of the Almighty blesses her soul and gives you and your family the patience and the ability to overcome this terrible loss.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Let's discuss this story. I know some of you guys have very strong opinions in respect to the story. I'm gonna offer Julius the chance to kick us off with his perspective in respect to the signing or the potential signing of Romelu Lukaku in the next few hours. Julius, take it away, mate.
Thanks for having us, and my condolences to Max for your loss. So, I haven't talked with you about the recent rumors, Mo, regarding Lukaku. And in my opinion, it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm gonna try to be as respectful as I can today regarding this deal, but it may be hard. How can we accept to pay 120 to 130 million for a player that is 28 years old, that wasn't even that keen to join the club, and doesn't even fit our playing style with how Tuchel is trying to play? And I really, really highly doubt he is a Tuchel choice. I think Tuchel would wanted Erling Haaland. So, in that regards, I find it absolutely ridiculous. That's not even including the agent fees and the wages, which, if you do the math, is going to come down very close to what would Erling Haaland cost at the end. So we're going to look like a bunch of idiots as a club, to be honest with you, knowing that we're paying 50 million out of this fee to Man U, facilitating them probably trying to get Haaland next season, especially now that they have Sancho, and just that is just attractive, I guess, for Haaland next year. Who knows if they even can win something this year? Maybe they could. So I really do not see any advantage or positivity from this deal going into next season. And mark my word, he will not score more than 15 goals in the Premier League, and we will see. So
Yeah, it's a bold statement. I think the chances that Chelsea create, he may be able to convert a ton of those. But I agree with you in respect to the bid, in respect to the price that we're paying. It's not far off to, I think, what Erling Haaland would have been valued. I'm just trying to think, how much was demanded from Borussia Dortmund and how much was requested or demanded by Mino Raiola and Alf Haaland that put Chelsea off making this deal and push them to aggressively go down the Romelu Lukaku route, because it does look like Chelsea are aggressively pursuing this. And the fact that Chelsea are letting it all out publicly, because the journalists that are talking about this is Matt Law, Simon Johnson, journalists that are linked to Chelsea Football Club, journalists that have the connections within the club. So therefore, Chelsea are allowing these journalists to report these stories and talk about this. So they want to rub it in Dortmund's face, apparently. Max, before I go to Max, Blue Class TV, big up, always supporting the Blue Lounge. Thank you for your donation, much appreciated. Max Burton, what's your thoughts on this, mate? What's your thoughts on this?
Right, I'm going to sort of disagree with a lot of things what Julius said, I'm afraid. Look, this Haaland was our number one target, and we all know that. We've obviously been having talks behind the scenes for Haaland. If Dortmund are not playing ball, what are we supposed to do? Yeah, so we value him at a certain amount. Okay, so we've offered what we believe is a fair fee, but they're not budging. And maybe even if there was wriggle room, sometimes there's room for negotiation. If their stance is, you know what, we'll take a hit and we'll just let him go for 75 million, then there's not a lot we can do. They've done that before in the past. We saw that with Lewandowski. They could have sold him a season earlier to Bayern because he wanted to go to Bayern, but for 20-30 million. But no, they let him go on a free the season after to Bayern. Okay, Sancho was the same thing. He went for, it's 25 million, £30 hit on what they would have got for him last season. So these guys, when they say they're not getting rid of a player, they're not getting rid of a player. So what could we do? We can't force their hands. So we then have to go for an alternative. I think the reason why a lot of people are getting upset by the Lukaku story is because obviously everyone wants Haaland. I want Haaland as well. So obviously, when it doesn't come, when your shiny toy doesn't come, you sort of throw your other toys up in the air because you're upset about it. But if we had gone in for Lukaku at the beginning of the window, and Haaland wasn't even a thing, well, everyone would be happy, I think. And for saying about his goal scoring record, I'm going to read you some stats. West Bromwich Albion, when he was on loan to them, 35 games, 17 goals. The next season, he went to Everton, 31 games, 15 goals. The next season after that, 36 games, 10 goals. 37 games, 18 goals. 37 games, 25 goals. That's in the Premier League. He went to Manchester United, where he supposedly was meant to be not having a great time there. First season, 16 goals in 34 games, 12 in 32 the season after that. He moved to the Serie A, 23 goals in 36, 24 in 36. And that's a career average of 193 goals in 397 games. In total, if you include not league games, if you include cup games and everything else, 251 in 508. That's a goal scoring record of 1 in 2 throughout his career. So you're talking about, if he gets 1 in 2, you're talking about 18 goals, 19 goals. Our top goal scorer last season was Jorginho with 7 penalties. Yeah. 18 goals gets us challenging. Yeah, if we had 18 goals last season, we'll be challenging City. Those 0-0s and turn into 1-0s or 2-0s. Yeah, and also, sorry, just let me finish first, and then I can let you talk. And the thing about giving Man U 50 million, that's again, I don't understand where that's coming from, because they'd be getting that 50 million anyway. Because if it wasn't coming from us, it would have to come from Inter Milan. So we're not giving Manchester City 50 million by purchasing him. They could be getting that money anyway. And that's been, obviously, the way the transfers work, that money is accounted for. Whenever it's going to be paid off, it's always going to be paid off in yearly installments anyway. So whether it's yearly installments from us or yearly installments from Inter Milan, it doesn't matter. Manchester City have budgeted that money for a couple of seasons ago. So that's not going to be extra money they're getting in from us. That's going to be the money that's already been budgeted.
Guys, I have a tweet from Fabrizio Romano. I'm going to share it with you and we'll read it together. Give me a second. Okay, this is a tweet from Fabrizio Romano just over 7 minutes ago. It says, Chelsea are preparing a new bid to sign Romelu Lukaku. Proposal expected around 120 to 130 million euros. After opening bid turned down by Inter for 100 million euros plus Marcos Alonso involved in the deal. Chelsea offering Lukaku a long-term contract for 12 million euros net per season salary. I'll repeat that to everyone. Chelsea are preparing a new bid to sign Romelu Lukaku. Proposal expected to be around 120 to 130 million euros after opening bid turned down by Inter Milan of 100 million euros plus Marcos Alonso involved in the deal. Chelsea are also offering Lukaku a long-term contract for 12 million euros net per season as salary. I want to say a big thank you to Drove for checking up on these tweets and keeping us updated. Lads, that is a great thing for me to see from you lot. Keep us inundated with all the latest tweets while we're here live so we can help share the news with everybody in the stream and in the chat. Josh CFC, big up my man. How are you? Max is spot on. Yeah, he normally is. Thanks for the donation, Josh. Appreciate it. Max, do you want to add something else to that, or can we move on to Mikhail and Eric? Because the thing is, I want to get Mikhail and Eric.
Yeah, move on. Then we'll have a discussion afterwards. Exactly.
Yeah. Once I get the 2 cents from Mikhail and Eric, we're going to open the discussion to everyone to to discuss this. Mikhail, my man, how are you? I know you you have strong opinions about this topic, so let's hear it, man.
I'm big up everybody. I'm a bit deflated by this turn of events. I agree with what Max said in terms of the proficiency of Lukaku being in the neighborhood of around 18-20 goals a season. I think I agree with that. And I respect Lukaku as a football player. But if we're going to pay the kind of money that we're talking about here, we're in the mud. And we're doing it to ourselves. So at that point, it's not my money, it's not your money, it's whoever's money it is, and they're doing whatever they want with it, and it is what it is. I would have thought that we could have maybe gotten 2 quality players for that kind of money this window, than an 18 goal a season striker. If you're going to argue that we couldn't have gotten an 18 goal a season striker for half that amount, I would say that that's unreasonable. I think that you'd probably be able to find quite a few. If that's what the expectation is from a top tier signing, 18 goals can be found many different places. I think Tammy's also scored in the neighborhood of 18 goals or maybe even a little more a couple seasons ago. So to me, the football side of things, it's not the end of the world if Lukaku comes. It's a letdown from Haaland, let's say. but by all intents and purposes, the club and probably even the player don't look too keen to come to Chelsea. So we move. I have no issues with moving on from Haaland. I just don't think that this is the best move necessarily for the amount of money we're trying to get rid of to sign the player. But
fair comment.
But it is what it is. Once the player puts on the jersey, he'll have my support. And blue is the color, and we'll move on.
Fair comment. Yeah, no, I understand that. It is one of those. The finances behind it baffle me, and Julius also touched on that. The finances behind this deal baffle the hell out of me, but I think it's because of the lack of options that are available right now, and I think the fact that Dortmund played. What's the word here? Should I use this word? They played a dirty game when it came to the requests. And you all know. I mean, Roman Abramovich is not the kind of person that likes to do these deals behind, it's not behind closed doors, but it's like, I'm going to be funneling money to Mino Raiola and Erling Haaland's dad. Abramovich doesn't like that, and that is one of the reasons why we never made deals with Mino Raiola in the past. And this is why we didn't have a good relationship with him in the past. And this is why Lukaku didn't join Chelsea in the past. And I think this is something that has become apparent again in this deal.
So
I'm only assuming.
One thing, why do you say they played a dirty game?
No, the deal is a dirty game. The actual deal, because of the backhanders that is required for Mino Raiola.
Oh, the overall package with not only the fee. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think this is the aspect that turns off Roman Abramovich. He doesn't like to see these things included in the deal, and I think as an overall package, it was one of those things that I don't know. Chelsea were reluctant to follow up on.
That's a good point you make, because it's a 200 million transfer. It's not 140 or whatever. It becomes a 200 million transfer.
Exactly. And not all of the money is accounted for within the proper parameters, if I can put it that way. And it's not favourable for Chelsea. I'm going to go to Eric Blue, then we go to Bobby, and then we will open up the discussion. Eric Blue, give me your initial thoughts on this situation.
Yeah, hey guys. Hey everyone. Good to see you guys again. Yeah, for me, it's not ideal. I understand people's issues. For me, the biggest issue is the price. It's a lot of money. It's ridiculous, but Chelsea are also in a difficult position. So that's why the price is what it is. We can't really do anything about it. It's not ideal, but for me, it makes more sense to do this and just bite the bullet than go into the season with just Havertz and Werner and maybe Abraham. So we had to do it in a sense. We had to get a signing of this. I know some people don't raise Lukaku, but we had to get a signing of Lukaku's level at least, in my opinion. I don't really buy into this idea that he's as good as Abraham or Abraham is better than him, or I think he's an upgrade on what we have. So I like the deal. I don't like the money, but I'm happy that Lukaku might be coming in. Hopefully he comes. He was my first target. I said it before. I hope people give him a chance, and even if they don't give him a chance, I think Lukaku has a point to prove. I think he will prove people wrong. I expect him to score more goals than 15. I think he will score 20 plus goals if he comes. But obviously we'll have to just wait and see. If Lukaku has an amazing season and scores 30 plus goals, I don't think people will be focusing on the money so much. So,
or Haaland.
Exactly. People, football fans are very fickle. We'll just forget. So it's about what actually happens if the deal gets over the line. But it's more important than someone like Lukaku. It's more important that somebody like Lukaku was brought in than if we just, try to gamble for next summer. It was always Haaland or bust or somebody, maybe people would say Lukaku isn't close, but for me, Lukaku is within the sort of ballpark of the level of striker that we need. So if Holland wasn't available, we would have had to go for this kind of option because it makes more sense to go for Lukaku now than to keep the money, go into the season. We may not even get top four without the striker we want,
Striker.
and then hope that somehow next summer, with all the competition we'll have, we will be able to beat all the competition and get Holland. So I'm in favor of the deal. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening. I don't see us getting Haaland if we don't sign him now. Forget him. Forget him for the next few years anyway. Lads, before we move over to Bobby and get his point of view on this, I want to ask you to remember hitting that like button. We are on 38 likes. I'd like to see that go to 50 soonish. Let's try to get more people watching the stream. The way you're going to do that is by hitting that like button and getting the YouTube algorithm to like the stream. So hit the like button, guys. Really appreciate it. Bobby, welcome to the stream. How are you?
Hi, Mo. Hello, guys.
Hi, Bobby.
Bobby, I know you've been following the story. I know you've been following the developments over the past few days, and especially today, with everything that we've heard from Simon Johnson, Simon Phillips, Fabrizio Romano, and the rest of the journalists on this platform. What's your thoughts on the developments? I know yesterday we were talking about the potential of us making this third bid. It looks like it's going to happen within the next few hours. I mean, tomorrow morning we might wake up having this bid being accepted, rejected. We don't know, but it looks like it's a matter of hours. What's your take on this whole thing?
Well, it seems quite clear that for whatever bid Chelsea make going forward, it has to be over 100 million euros. Over 100 million.
Sorry, Bobby, did you see the last tweet by Fabrizio Romano, the one that was about 10, 15 minutes ago?
No, what did he say?
He said Chelsea are going to be tabling a bid in the region of 120 to 130 million euros, as the previous bid was rejected, with a 12 million net salary for Lukaku for next season. The aspect or the factor was that in the bid that is going to be made, he did not mention Marcos Alonso. He just mentioned 120 to 130 million euros, which is the same bid that we made in value, but it's more of cash rather than a player. So it has a financial incentive in respect to Inter Milan rather than them having a player with 100 million euros. That is if you value Marcos Alonso to be 20 to 30 million, debatable, but that's the last tweet from Fabrizio Romano that came out over 10-15 minutes ago.
Well, I've made no secret that nothing about this deal impresses me or gives me any sense of excitement or pleasure. I just find it all very, very poor. It's poor. It's extremely poor. Chelsea have a scouting system that, if they had really done some homework, would be able to find a backup to Haaland without going and spending 120 million. I mean, you spend that sort of money on a player that, as I said yesterday, is going to come and when things are really rough, can carry the side, can score those magical goals, the likes of Drogba, Hazard, people that do these things, these exceptional things. This guy doesn't do any of that. Yeah, he'll knock in a few, but it's all going to be very clumsy stuff. It's not over 100 million stuff, and I don't know why we're doing this. But as they say, it is what it is. We seem to have now made ourselves look quite foolish. We're overspending on an average striker, and we're underselling our players. The players that we could ask for a decent price for, we're underselling. The ones that we should undersell and get rid of, we are hanging on to and trying to pretend we're this great negotiator. It's all nonsense to me right now. I'm not impressed at all. And, Chelsea is my club, my love, my passion. And I believe we will always come out top. But in terms of what we've done, it's going to look bad. It's going to probably haunt us further down the line when this guy, reaches the age where his form will start to dip, and we're lumbered with an over 200 million player on high wages. Typical. Sad, but we continue. We go on.
All right. I want to say firstly, big up to Boogeyman. Welcome to the stream.
Thanks for having me. Hello, Max and Bobbies and DJ Julius, all those guys, yeah, man.
Welcome,
Hey, Boogeyman.
welcome to the Couch Critic. How are you, my man? Couch Critic, can you hear us, mate?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
We're good.
Hey.
We're good.
Evening.
Welcome.
Excellent.
Listen, lads, we've had our 2 cents. We've talked. Listen, I have to say, I disagree with a bunch of you, and I agree with one of you, and that's Max. I think Lukaku is not the finished article. He was better. He's on decline. Maybe. His performances for Inter have been of a good standard. Yes, the Serie A is not the Premier League. Yes, his performances in the Euros wasn't brilliant. But Romelu Lukaku is a goal scorer. He's a finisher. Proven goal scorer. Proven finisher. I think his level is a lot better, a lot higher than a lot of the players that we have seen at Chelsea for a long time. I'm not going to compare him to Drogba now. I mean, a lot of people, compare him to Drogba now. I'm not going to compare him to Drogba. Maybe he has a similar physique. Maybe he has a similar aura about him. The fact that they played together when he first started. But I'm not going to compare him. I'm not going to compare him to Costa, because Costa was a different type of player. I'm going to compare him to himself. Romelu Lukaku is a goal scorer. Romelu Lukaku is a proven attacker with good attributes. Maybe some of you rate him to be average. Maybe some of you rate him to be excellent. Regardless, his stats show that he can score. Some will say he scores against lower rated teams. And he doesn't do it against the big boys. Yeah, maybe. But I think the situation we're in, it has given us very little room for maneuver. And I think the situation with Haaland kind of pushed us down this path. And I think we've seen that happen to Chelsea in the past. With Kepa, with other players. Where we don't get the player we want. And I'm not going to say this is a panic buy, but I'm going to say we probably are paying more than we should be. Lads, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Talk it over, and it's open.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't wait for me to cue you in.
I've been
Go on,
listening
Max.
to everything what people have been saying, and listen.
Yeah.
As I said, a lot of it's because of the disappointment of not getting Haaland, and people are letting their judgment get away from them because of the Haaland situation. They're not looking at it logically. And as far as the money goes, it's a bit on the high side, but I've studied economics, and economics, you've got something called supply and demand. Okay, so how many top quality centre forwards are out there at the moment? So we're looking at 5. We're looking at Haaland, we're looking at Kane, we're looking at Lewandowski, Lukaku is in that bracket, and Probably 4 actually. Anyone? Is there a 5th one? Is anyone can think of? Just tell me. But those are the 4.
Benzema.
Yeah, Benzema. Okay, yeah, thank you, Coach. Yeah, so Benzema. So out of those ones, as I said, we've tried for our number 1 target, Haaland, which
And Mbappe.
Yeah, Mbappe. Yeah, Mbappe is a kind of different type of striker, isn't he? But I put him in that bracket as well. So we've tried for. Harry Kane's never going to come to Chelsea because of the relationship Tottenham we have with Tottenham and their chairman. So that's a no-go for a start. Lewandowski was always going to be a hard one to pull off as well. And even if we're looking at Lewandowski, we're still looking at 50 million for a 33 or 34-year-old. So we're still going to be paying high. So because of the market hasn't got a lot of people to choose from, then you're going to have to be playing top dollar for who's available. You know, there are others out there like Vihalovic or something, the guy from Fiorentina, and others who may be worth a punt. You never know. But again, you don't know what we're going to be getting from them. So it's a bit of a gamble. So that's the price factor. And the other thing, what I'm hearing people saying is okay, Serie A is not as good as the Premier League, but nor is Bundesliga. We saw what happened with Werner. Werner was scoring goals for fun out in the Bundesliga. He came to the Premier League and he struggled. Yeah, I think Haaland. I'm not saying that Haaland's going to struggle. Don't get me, but we don't know if he will struggle or not. The 2 games, although I'm not a reactionary supporter, so I'm not going to be taking games. But the 2 games he played against Manchester City, he struggled in both those games. Okay, he got an assist in one of the goals. In the other game against Man City, he wasn't even in it. It was like he wasn't even on the pitch a lot. He looked lost in that particular game. So because he's got those attributes, it doesn't mean that it's going to work out straight away. He's a young player coming into this league as a 21-year-old. I'm not saying he would struggle, Brian. I'm not saying So Brian, I'm not saying he will struggle, but we don't know. We can't say with definite. Who thought that Werner was going to struggle? Some people had an inkling that he may, but you know, he may have to find his feet in the first season. You just don't know in football, and that's the thing about football. We don't know. No one can say with certainty that he's going to score 30 goals in his first season. No one knows that.
No, but we can't say that. We can't say that about anyone ever coming to the league, right? There is no guarantees with anyone.
Exactly, there is no guarantees. Exactly. Yeah.
I think the thing with Haaland was the fact that everyone acknowledged what he was doing in the Champions League as well. Like 20 goals in his first 2 seasons gives you something to at least, you know, look at and say, wow, this guy is going to be special. If he continues on this trajectory, he's going to be something. So that I mean, I agree. Like there's no guarantees either way, but we already know what we need. And I just don't know if Lukaku can deliver the quality that we need. Like I said yesterday, I think we just need a talisman, a guy that's truly going to be the guy that delivers us from, like, you know, this mediocrity of goal scoring and like a situation where, you know, we're down 1-0 and then second half comes around and then Lukaku's on fire and scores 2, like Hazard used to do, just like a real leader. Right now, it looks like we're spending 100 million euros plus on just a goal poacher. And I don't know if a goal poacher is exactly what the squad needs right now. If you're going to spend 100 million euros, it has to be a special player. And I do take what you say, Max, with the consideration of it being, you know, supply versus demand. But given the fact that what we know clearly what we need right now, I would rather just not pony up $100+ million on a poacher when you could wait again and save your money and then get something that you exactly need. You know what I mean? If it means next year, it doesn't matter. Like, what happens to Lukaku?
Is Haaland's a poacher as well, isn't he? Is he somebody who's going to dribble around? Is he going to be? He's not someone who dribbles past 3 or 4 players and knocks into the far corner or something like that. He's somebody. He gets the chance. He puts the ball in the back of the net.
No,
that's the same what Lukaku does.
Haaland is a bit more than a poacher. You know, he does have other strings to his bow. I've watched him. He can create, and he can create his own goals. He has that little X factor about him. And added to this, what you've said, Max, about Lukaku, about Haaland maybe not, you know, hitting the ground running. Accepted, it's a possibility coming from the Bundesliga. But the difference is that this guy has the age on his side. He has the room to improve. If Lukaku comes next season and doesn't hit the ground running, it's all over.
But
it's
you know
downhill
what?
From there on.
Yeah, you make a good point there. He's got age on his side, but we've got lots of young players, so we need a bit of experience in our side as well as age. So this guy's coming in with
get experience in other areas of the pitch. You know, okay.
So but I understand what you guys are saying, but what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if Dortmund don't want to sell us, what do we do? If we can't force these guys to sell him to us. That's what I'm saying. We cannot force.
I tell you what we do. If Dortmund doesn't sell us Haaland, we make it public that we went for Haaland, and then we don't panic buy. That's what we do. What we're doing is reactionary.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not reactionary.
What does that? What do you gain by making it public? What does the club gain from doing that?
You save face, and you throw it back in their court. Because if they, Dortmund is a club that's very much about saving face. Oh, they set a time limit on Jadon Sancho, and if you don't meet it, there's no deal. They're that sort of club.
But how do we save face, though? I don't understand what you're saying.
I think it was Lawrence Westphally that tweeted out something really pertinent on this point, that it's okay for us to bid thrice on Lukaku and get rejected along the way. But we're too shy to make a bid for Haaland.
Exactly. Doesn't make sense.
What are you talking about?
No, but we don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going on.
That's exactly what Bobby's point is.
I think. Sorry, Max. I think the fact that we are making it public is because we are trying to prove a point. I think Chelsea. Yeah, maybe. But Chelsea right now are being pushed in the corner with the situation with Erling Haaland, and for them, it looks like they have rejected all the offers, all the deals that were put on the table between Chelsea and Dortmund with the agent, with the father, etc. They've hit a brick wall, and for them, they're saying, look, you pushed us into this position. We're going to go for Lukaku. Maybe and again, keep in mind something else. We still don't know how reliable this is. I don't think there is any chance of us going for Erling Haaland right now, or even this window. But at the same time, we don't know what's happened. We don't know what has happened between Chelsea and Dortmund. We're speculating. We're assuming a lot of things. We are assuming a ton right now. Okay, maybe this deal, fell apart a long time ago, but Chelsea have been negotiating with Inter Milan all this time, and the focus was on Haaland, but Chelsea may have been spending the past couple of weeks, on the Inter Milan thing, because Jan Ark Voitov was begging Chelsea to make that magical bid. He was begging on ESPN, and all of this we're reading it as Chelsea are still negotiating. No, I think Chelsea turned their backs on the deal and they started walking towards the Lukaku situation. And Jan Ark Voitov was trying to bring them back to the table by doing all of these interviews and doing all of this. This is again an assumption. Listen, Josh, one second. Josh in the chat. Tag me in a tweet so I can see you, because I have my DMs restricted. So tag me in a tweet, follow me, and I will send you the link. And if anybody on the panel knows Josh CFC and is able to send him the link, please go ahead and do so. DJ Sav, if you can, also do it. Max, carry on, mate.
No, that's what I'm saying. I agree with you totally. What you're saying there, Beck. We could have obviously we may have been having discussions behind closed door with Dortmund. Dortmund adamant saying, you know what, you can even offer us 200 million, but we'll take the hit. We want to enjoy him for another season, and we ain't going to deal with you. So we'll be silly.
Why hide that?
No, but who's hiding it? Who's hiding anything?
Well,
who's hiding anything?
Nobody has said the way whole
Chelsea don't bring the Chelsea. You know Chelsea, Bobby. But Chelsea do not talk about their deals in public.
But the Lukaku approach is public.
They may brief some people about things from time to time. But it's public. But it's not from Chelsea. It's from journalists who are saying it.
Yeah. It's just as public. It's just as public as the Lukaku stuff.
Yeah,
And
but
just-
these the news from the Haaland side was only coming from mainly being pushed as baggy. I keep saying back. Sorry, as called no. It's been pushed from Jan Haag for Fjortel, and not a lot of people. Even Fabrizio Romano said Chelsea have not made any bid for him. You know, and maybe. The stance from Dortmund is we want to keep him, but if someone offers something stupid, then we'll accept it. And it came from the director said it as well. And
Okay,
something stupid is like 175 million euro or something like that.
Let me throw something in the ring here, because none of this makes any sense to me yet. However, what if the whole thing is the about face? What if we drop another bid for Lukaku or allow that information to be leaked, and knowing that already Inter has rejected it, and then suddenly switch and drop 150 for Haaland? Is that possible? Is that likely?
That is possible. That's possible. Yeah, that is possible.
I'm not sure about that. I feel like nobody's talking about Holland anymore. This was for me. I listened to I was listening to what's his name, Dean Jones, right? And in his opinion, it's not a smokescreen, and there's enough evidence to suggest that it's not a smokescreen. So what Bobby is saying, it would suggest that it might be a smokescreen, but it wouldn't at this point. I can't imagine that all of a sudden.
What's the evidence it's not a smokescreen? Nobody really knows anything at the moment until someone's signing in front of the Chelsea cameras at Cobham or Stamford Bridge. That's the thing. This story is still live. Whether we believe it or not, there could still be a twist in the story. It looks unlikely, but it's very, very possible. Football's a funny game. We've seen it before in so many different scenarios. At Chelsea itself, we've bought players that way. So, who knows?
Yeah, but Bobby, I want to say something though. What makes me feel sick and annoyed is when football fans they just jump on the bandwagon now. The sentiment now is that we're going for Lukaku. Let's convince ourselves that it's the right choice, and call 175 million a stupid bid or a stupid number, but 130 million on a striker who is 28 years old, who averages 17 goals in his whole career. Good business, We need to be real here.
Who averages what?
17, 18 goals.
17, 18 goals.
100. Let me break it down.
He doesn't average 17, 18 goals.
He does. Because
he doesn't.
Respectfully, he doesn't average 30 goals a season either. So
listen, it doesn't.
For that kind of money, for that kind of money, you have come on.
No, listen.
Let's call a spade a spade.
In his first, when he was 18 to 19, when you drop those figures, 10 in 36, when he was a 18-year-old or 19-year-old, in his last few seasons, okay. The last 2 seasons, he's scored a lot of goals. You've got to look at football. You do the eye test, guys. Don't look at the stats all the time. Look at Manchester United. Manchester United, he was hardly, he wasn't suited to their style of play or whatever. So when he was in and out of that Man United side, the stats I showed you earlier were. They weren't starts because some of those games were when he came off the bench. It would be interesting to see what his goals per start ratio is.
Sorry to come in and cut you a bit short, but this excuse that he wasn't suited to Man United's style of play. When Mourinho was at Chelsea, Hazard wasn't suited to Mourinho's style of play, but he was still doing his magic. Mourinho was stifling his game, but he still came up with the goods.
But Hazard is a different type of player.
He is, but I'm just talking about that that A-grade type of player. We are paying marquee prices for an average striker.
He's not average.
What has Lukaku done to deserve the billing of being a phenomenal striker? Like, what's his claim to fame?
Thank you.
15 goals again and 58 games against top six.
He's
That's what
dropped
consistent.
2 incredible seasons at Inter Milan. That's what he's done. He's got 2 seasons similar to what Haaland has done at Dortmund. He scored the same amount of goals as Haaland over a period of 2 seasons so that's what he's done. Yeah. So we're saying, what has he done? He's familiar with.
I take that, Max. I take that, Max. Now compare that to Lewandowski for me. Compare that to Benzema for me. Compare that to
you know what? I'm not
Neymar
comparing
for
it
me.
with. I'm not comparing it with any of those guys because those guys are unattainable. We got to.
Why are they unattainable? Why haven't you thrown 100 million at a Lewandowski and
why
seen
are we
what
throwing
happened?
100 million at a 33-year-old for? What for? That doesn't make business sense. You know that
I think it's
definitely wouldn't
important.
make business
Sorry,
sense.
I'm
guys, I think
using
it's
your
important to
argument.
understand.
I'm using your
explored-
argument.
No,
I'm
but
using
we
your
explored-
argument. He scored
we
goals.
explored-
He scored
no.
goals. He
Yeah, but
scored
we've-
goals.
Guys,
We've
guys.
explored that situation. He's not going to come to us. You know, we're
For
not. I
100
keep
million,
telling you,
for 100 million,
I don't care. He's not coming
they'll
to
drive
us.
him over.
He's not coming to
Guys.
us. Okay.
The comparison to
Lukaku
Lukaku and Lewandowski makes no sense. First of all, I think one of the things that we're starting to ignore is the fact that other teams have aspirations as well. Bayern Munich are not selling Lewandowski.
Exactly.
They're not selling
That's not
Lewandowski.
the point. The point is not that. The point is that we have
That is the
100
point.
million that's burning a hole in our pocket.
That
We
is the
must spend
point.
it this window. It's not necessary to spend it this window if you're not getting the value for it.
Can I say
Kyle,
something?
I'm not disagreeing
So
with
you
I'm
end up
definitely not-
with what we were last season. You're happy to
Lukaku
do
scored
what we did
20.
last season then.
Lukaku scored 24
Let
league
Boogeyman
goals
come in.
last season. Lukaku scored 24 league goals last season. In the 2 seasons Lukaku spent at Inter Milan, he scored 47 goals on playing 77 games. So I'm not still seeing who Lukaku is to be able to command a fee of
Guys,
100-something million pounds. It
I'm
just
missing
does
the
not
point,
make
man.
any sense.
Guys, we're missing the point. It's not
What
about.
point am I missing?
It's not about whether or not the money is right for the player. Everybody knows he's overpriced. That's not the point. The
Ben
point
White went
is,
for £50 million.
What?
Ben White
Would
went
you-
for £50 million.
would you prefer? All right. So, do you prefer us to go into the new season with Havertz and Werner and maybe Tammy and Broja as well, and just manage and try to scrape top 4 again?
And finish 4th
Or-
or 5th.
Yeah, and finish 4th. Or would you like us to spend more money than we should?
I
and
would
get
I
an
would
actual
rather
striker?
we do that and
let
go
me-
next
yeah.
summer with 100 million
I think-
at Haaland again.
No, we're not
Haaland
getting Haaland
is-
next
I
season.
think
We're
we
not
don't-
getting Haaland next
Wait,
season.
wait, 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 wait,
We're not getting him next season.
Can I
Forget
answer
that.
Lads,
Can I answer the
question. Can Chelsea win the Premier League or the Champions League this season without a clear number 9, a clear striker? Can we do it?
We
Can I
can win the
answer?
Champions
No,
League.
wait. Let's just answer this question. Can we do it?
We can do the Champions League, not the Premier League.
Maybe
Because we've
the
done
champ-
it
we
before.
can win a
We've done it
few
last
trophies.
season. So
All
we
right,
can win a cup.
all right.
Yeah, but can I answer that question?
Last season we had Olivier Giroud. We had a striker in our team. We had Tammy Abraham, a backup to Olivier Giroud, and we still didn't score enough goals, but we managed to do it. It was a miracle. I'll be honest with you. It was a miracle that we won the Champions League. We're the champions of Europe, but we done it. It was a miracle. We can't win the Premier League or the Champions League without a striker. Now
We won't win it with Lukaku. Premier League, forget about it.
Good. Yeah,
we
Well, can I
have
just come
we
in
have
here,
a
guys?
better one second. We have a better chance to win the Premier League or the Champions League or a cup having a clear striker in the team. We are better off than not having a clear striker in the team.
Who
Are
is
we
that?
overpaying? Are we over Lukaku? Are we overpaying? Yeah, we are overpaying. Well, in my opinion, we're overpaying with the 100 million euros plus Alonso that has been rejected. That was already overpaying. But what other options do we have?
We have
not
a perfect
Because
option. We have a
Lukaku,
perfect,
you
we have a
guys just
perfect
said,
option.
you guys just said, Lukaku is a 17 to 18 goal striker.
Yes.
I'll take that. I'll take
That's
that
pretty
right
good,
now.
by the
So
way.
here,
I'll take that right
hold
now.
that thought.
Yeah.
Hold that thought right now.
Go on.
Tammy Abraham had how many goals this season? 6. How many games did Tammy Abraham play? 12. If he plays 38 games, that's 3 times the number of games he played.
But Tuchel
That's
isn't
6.
giving.
On that average, he would be scoring you 18 goals a
But
season too.
Tuchel isn't giving him much of a chance, so we can't really.
What
look
I'm
at Tammy.
saying is that bringing somebody else in to give you the same production rate does not merit $100 million pound.
So how many goals is Haaland scoring for us next season?
Even Baggy, you say Lukaku is not a finished product.
This is not about Max.
Max,
This is not about Lukaku or Haaland. This is about how do you spend that money the best possible way. And this is not the best possible use of £100 million, respectfully.
So I'm still asking you. No, hold on 1 minute.
Lads,
Chelsea
question. Because apparently, Declan Rice ain't coming because Chelsea are not prepared to pay 100 million for Declan Rice. Would that have been the correct use of money?
No way.
No way. What I'm trying to tell you is this: the fact that Chelsea is prepared to pay this money to bring this man in. And we said this, I think it was yesterday, and I know Bobby disagreed with this. But I believe that Chelsea have a better grasp in respect to the financial situation of our club than any one of us here. They know what is required. They know what is needed. Yes, maybe they've made mistakes in the past. The likes of Drinkwater, Kepa, they make mistakes. They're not perfect. But what I'm saying is, we have to try. And I think if Lukaku does come in, and again, I have my reservations over Lukaku, but I think if Lukaku does come in, we are in a better position next season than without Lukaku. Yeah, and all you have to do, Boogeyman, all you have to do is look at the other clubs right now. Look at Arsenal. Arsenal are shitting bricks right now. Because if we get Lukaku, Lautaro Martinez ain't going nowhere. Okay. So by getting Lukaku, we've already limited their options. Yes, by getting Lukaku.
Just jump in. I really need to just jump in.
One second. Yes, this deal is gonna allow Manchester United to recuperate that 50 million that they need, and they may spend that to get Erling Haaland next season. But it's all about balancing things out, and I think we have to reach that balance, and I think our club can do it better than any one of us here can. Couch Critic, go ahead.
Okay, first question. Does anyone think that if we don't get a striker this year, Chelsea Football Club is going to fold? So I don't think so. I still think we'll be able to go back and get another striker the year after. Sure. Next question. Does anyone think that of the 5 years that we're going to get from Lukaku, which ones are his prime? And is it worth it? Is our window to win a title limited to just 3 years now? Because he comes in at 28, probably his prime years are the next 3 years, and then he starts to see a bit of decline, right? So we're basically investing £100+ million into a guy that's probably going to give us 3 to 4 of his best years, and then after that, it's a sunken fund. Right? We're not going to be able to recoup anything, right?
6 months,
right? Whatever the number is. Like, look at the investment and look at the return based on. Max, I can see it already. You're already ready to say we have no way of telling what he's going to deliver and what. I agree, but we're still looking at it from the perspective where our investment has to. I'm looking at it from the investment standpoint. Like most strikers, especially a striker like him who doesn't necessarily stay in shape a lot of the time and struggles to keep his body weight down, struggle when they get into their 30s. This is a fact. He said it himself, right? And then we're going to spend £100+ million to get him into the squad. And then what's going to happen? 2-3 years down the line, he's going to start to lose his body shape. He's not going to be as powerful and
it's not just that. Can I complete your idea? Lukaku has difficulty controlling the ball. Lukaku is playing.
No, he doesn't.
Man, you don't watch Lukaku.
You don't watch football like that. You're watching him from when he was at Chelsea as a 18-year-old. You're not watching
Lukaku during the Euro.
You're not
Lukaku
watching him now.
Control the ball.
Of course, he can control the ball. Yes, he can.
Max.
Go and watch him in Italy last season. I
watched Serie A.
I watch most of Lukaku games.
So Julius, so Lukaku can't control the ball.
Lukaku has too much space in Serie A. He will never get it. in EPL. EPL, what are our defenders? Look at them. We're talking about, can we beat Van Dijk? Lukaku is not going to score against Van Dijk. Lukaku is not going to score against, just pick all the big defenders. Manchester City, he's not going to do it. We know where Lukaku is going to score
No,
goals.
he's going to do it. He's going to do it probably invariably. But the difference is that, is he any different from any other target man that we are booing here?
No, he's
that
not
is
even
not
going
worthy.
to do it. Like,
That is not worthy for our club, because
when
Lukaku
Lukaku
is
is
worthy
20
for our club.
Hang on, guys. It's
when
about
Lukaku is 29, 30, he cannot control the ball. He cannot use his physical ability anymore. What
it's
is
about-
it? He's nothing.
okay. It's
No,
about
Max
weighing
has
up
a
the risk,
point.
Andrew.
Lukaku is playing at his peak right now. He hasn't been this fit in probably the past 7-8 years. So since he was a young kid, he's looking slimmer. He's looking ripped. I agree. I buy into all of that. Lukaku will add to our team. That's not the debate here. The problem is the amount of money we're throwing away is basically a compromise on buying more strength for the team for the years coming forward, because we know he's at the end of his cycle. He's not going to go. We're not going to be able to sell him on for another 100 million at the end of whatever he's going to do at Chelsea. It's going to be bye-bye.
So
Money down
We're
the drain.
stifling ourselves.
Is it
Yes,
more of
so
a
that
future
100
markets.
million, I would like to see invested in a player that 5 years from now, if we sell, we can get 150 back maybe.
Is it more of a risk to go for Lukaku, or to try to manage without him and risk the season? Because we have no
It's
idea.
more of a risk.
Why is it down to one season though with you guys? I'm looking at the longevity of the club. Like
Yeah,
one
who are we going to
season, two
get
season,
though?
3
Guys,
seasons, right?
guys,
We
who are
don't
we gonna
need to get anybody.
No,
Let's
who-
go
no,
for Ings.
who are we?
I'll go
Exactly.
with
I've been
Ings.
saying that all along, that you don't need to
Yes.
overspend to get 18 goals a season. Get an Ings, get 15 goals a season, and we move on till we find somebody better.
Why are we trying to buy dead weight? I don't understand.
What are we getting
this
Ings
either.
for? Come on now.
Then
Good
give
Danny
Sammy
Ings,
the
We're
game.
getting
Then
Ings
give
to
Sammy
score
the game
goals.
to play the average that he's playing, which
Let's-
is
Ings isn't Chelsea. then.
exactly 18 goals a season.
Tuchel won't play Tammy though. You're forgetting.
Look,
Tuchel doesn't
24
rate
No,
goals
but the
in Serie A.
conversation is that we're getting somebody better. How are we getting somebody better when his goal production is the same rate that Tammy's giving us?
It's not the same.
What I
It's not the
don't-
same.
what
You're
I
not just
don't
looking.
want to
Oh
happen-
man, really?
What I don't want
He's-
to happen is maybe this time
Lukaku
next
takes all the
year,
penalties.
there's another striker suddenly come to the fore, and that striker has a price tag. And hey, look, Chelsea can't get him. Why? Because we blew all the money on Lukaku, who sat
Facts.
there with a 5-year contract, big wages, and we can't shift him for dust. This is
That's
a
what I'm saying.
crazy buy.
100%.
It's a
This
crazy
is
buy.
exactly what's going to happen.
What is the alternative?
Why is it
What
going to
the
happen? Why is
alternative?
it going to happen?
The alternative is
No.
don't buy anyone.
Why
This
is
a
it
panic
going to
buy.
happen?
Lads,
No,
one
it's not
second,
a panic buy, Bobby.
one second,
It's not a
one
panic
second,
buy.
one second.
He was one
Time
of the
out.
4 people
Time
that
out,
we
time
were
out, Max.
interested in.
Time out. Listen, lads. Josh, you're in the back room. You need to reset your connection because you're just stuck. I can't put you into the stream. So yeah, just reset your connection. People in the chat. I'm reading your comments. I'm keeping an eye on your comments. But we have a hot debate here on the panel. Please show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. We are over 100 people in the stream, but only 70 likes.
Can
So
I
do
add
us a
something?
favor
Can I
and
add something
one
quick?
second. Do us a favor and make sure you hit that like button. Listen, people. I want to keep this debate organized. When one person is talking, please allow them to finish their point before someone else jumps in and interrupts. Let them finish the point. We have all night. We have all night.
So Lukaku
So
has
just
scored.
don't cut anyone off, especially not me. So relax, Boogeyman. Let me finish what I gotta say, and then so I wanna. I think Max was talking, and then I cut him
No,
off.
no,
So,
let
let
him
Boogeyman
talk.
carry on. You good?
I'll just saying he's not a panic buy, but let Boogeyman carry on. Then
Go on, Boogeyman.
Yeah, but I just want to debunk this Lukaku Serie A's goals. 24 this season. In those 24, 6 of them are penalties. So what are we looking? I just don't know what are we looking for in Lukaku.
Haaland takes
still gotta score
penalties.
the
Harry
penalty.
Kane takes penalties. What's up?
You said
gotta
six.
score the
What's the
penalty.
big
Six
deal
is not
about
a.
penalties?
It's not a lot. 6 is a small number.
Have you checked Haaland's
So,
stats for
so,
penalties?
so that means what?
Or Harry Kane's
We're
stats for
buying Lukaku.
penalties?
Even I'm telling you, even Lukaku was 50 million, and Hinks is there for 40 million. I'll buy Hinks.
man.
I don't care
We
about
can't sign
Lukaku.
Ings, please. We can't do that, man.
No,
Listen,
I wouldn't.
if we buy a Haaland, we can turn around and sell a Haaland
I watch.
in 4 or 5 years.
Let me
And-
finish
But
my
with
idea.
Lukaku, it's a dead end. It's
I
a
was
dead
watch-
end.
I was
And
watching
at that point, I would rather go for a Lewandowski or a Benzema than a Lukaku. That's just an opinion, but it's based on the goal production that they've been doing and the eye test from having seen them play very recently in the Euros, much less even the season beyond.
We can't
I
get
watch.
them.
I watch Dortmund Bologna.
Listen, you've been turned down twice for Lukaku as well. You can't get Lukaku either.
Yeah.
We'll see. Let's see.
But we just don't know how much mistake we're making. I watch Haaland and Bologna game live. That Haaland boy, he is really good actually. He doesn't have a weak foot. He can shoot from both sides. He's so.
We know about him.
Yeah,
We
stop
know
talking
him.
about Haaland, though. Why
We
you
know
keep
about
talking
him.
about Haaland?
One second.
He's not coming.
One second. Josh CFC, welcome to the stream. Mate, I'm not going to try to introduce or nothing, mate. Jump in whenever you want.
Okay.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I've been listening to pretty much what everyone's had to say, and I tend to just agree with Max here on this. I mean, I'm all in for Erling Haaland as well. I think everybody would prefer him if we had the option. It doesn't look like we're going to get that chance based off of Dortmund. Unfortunately, we're not really getting any news from the Haaland camp this whole time over the last couple of weeks or whatever. And so if our move is to go for Lukaku, you guys, we're still talking about a top 3 to 5 striker in the world right there in Romelu Lukaku. He's the MVP of Serie A last year. He's a champion. He's won a championship in Serie A. So I understand the hesitation from everybody, but I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves when we're trying to bash this guy for not a lot. I think Romelu Lukaku is a very, very quality striker and something that Chelsea have lacked quite a bit the last few years. So I would just want to pump the brakes a little bit on bashing Lukaku here. He's a very, very quality player.
Exactly. And the thing is, the reason why, as I said before, the reason why people are bashing him is because of the disappointment of Haaland. I'm disappointed at Haaland, but I'm looking at it logically.
I made a video 3 weeks ago putting somebody else, a separate option in the market as an alternative to Lukaku, not Haaland. And I said it back then that if Haaland comes, but I don't want to see us spending Haaland kind of money on a Lukaku at the end of that chase. And right now we're at that same conversation again. It's not about Lukaku or Haaland. It never was about that. It's we have a bunch of money. Where are we going to spend it? Well, let's go try Haaland. It didn't work. Oh, let's go buy Haaland, Lukaku now with the same amount of money. Come on, guys. They are nowhere near the same product.
It's not the same amount of money. I mean, in fact, it's probably about 100 million less if we're being honest. Because if you look at the entire Haaland package, I mean, it's well over 300 million with agent fees.
If you look at the Lukaku package, it's approaching 150.
You're not
And
counting
I'm not even counting his wages.
and the agent fees.
His wage is 200,000 and Haaland was 300,000, so it's 200,000 a year.
And you're still 100 million less getting Lukaku than you
It
would
is 100 million less. Exactly.
Yes, but you can sell a Haaland age player. You can't sell a Lukaku age player.
Listen, I don't.
To get that money.
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
Chelsea think what you're saying is okay. If it's 100 million less, you're selling him for 100 million profit. So it's the same sort of things logically, isn't it?
Guys, please. I've got to say, I think it's too easy to just come and tell people, "Oh, you're bashing a player because they're saying something that you don't agree with." Every single person that has spoken about Lukaku has given legitimate reasons why this is not a good deal. Nobody's bashing Lukaku.
I'm not
We're
sure
just
about
giving
that.
our
But okay.
opinion about the
You're
deal
bashing
that
him.
doesn't look
I've heard all sorts. He
I mean,
can't track
Boogeyman
the
said he
ball.
can't.
Yeah,
He can't
exactly.
control the ball. I mean, come on.
Listen, he's very.
that's his
If you watched him at all, last season, you'll see his technical ability has increased quite a bit.
He is a better player than he's ever been.
Conte did
He is a
wonders
better
for his
player.
touch.
He is a
I
better player
watched him
now than
last
he's ever
season.
been. but
And
he's
what
not
I
100
saw
million
was
player, 100 million pound player. Sorry.
I watched him, and what I saw was a player running into acres of space that he will never have in the Premier League. That's what I saw. That's
Thank
why
you.
Lukaku was
Thank
shining.
you. Why are we pretending that Lukaku can control the ball in a small space, in tight space? He cannot do it. He will never done it. We just know that.
And we saw Haaland running into space.
Mo,
And we
Boogie,
saw
Boogie.
Haaland running into space that he wasn't getting in the Premier League as well.
I'm telling you,
Serie A
watch
is Serie A is a far superior defensive league than the Bundesliga. 100%.
Exactly. Amen.
Listen, Max, if you were saying that go for Lukaku and he's going to give us 30 goals this season, I'd be like, sign him up.
He made
Yeah, but
You yourself are telling us
scores
that
30
he's going
goals in the
to
Premier League.
score
guys.
18 goals on
No,
average.
I didn't say that. I said over the course of his career, he averages 1 every 2 games. That doesn't mean that he's not going to, next season, he's not going to give us 25, 26 goals. I'm going by his average. So the
Ronaldo
minimum.
scored more goals than Lukaku last season. Why don't we just get Ronaldo?
Hold on. I'm saying the minimum you expect from him is 1 and 2. That's the minimum you expect from him. If you get more from him, that's good. And yes, and obviously he's at the age and the maturity.
Is he a big match player?
He is a big match player.
Let's not forget he'll be playing with a world-class player like Kai Havertz, who will unlock quite a bit of space for him in the final third.
Exactly.
Well, that's the other conversation. Who are you going to bench? If you're going to play him, who are you benching?
What's the same with Haaland? The same argument you're making is go on then, talk.
Go on, Kritik, go ahead, mate.
I just have this one thing to say, but and I think it's an important point to make, just in terms of like Lukaku's actual output. Yes, we've seen him score 20, 24 goals, but where are those goals coming from? Are they match-winning goals? Or is he scoring against the top-tier teams? Is he scoring against teams like consistently, or is he scoring 3 against Udinese and then flopping his lines against like Juventus? It's the quality of the goal that matters as well, not just the quantity, right? Like, who is he scoring against? Is he a match winner? Is he scoring?
He scored against AC Milan this season.
He did score against AC Milan. I saw that. Yeah. The 3rd goal and a 3-0 win, right? So it's not like he's a match winner, a guy that's going to be decisive against like Man City and decisive against like these big teams that we're trying to face right now. That's the problem that I have right now.
I want to make a couple of points. I need a couple of minutes without anyone interrupting, because I want to...
Go ahead, Julius. Go ahead, mate.
So regarding Lukaku, I mentioned before, he averaged 17, 18 goals a season. You can look at the numbers, do the math, you'll get that. 15 goals in 58 games against big teams. 252 games, 113 goals. Eden Hazard, which is not a striker and a player that was not known to actually take shots, scored 85 goals in 245 games. That's not that far away from the world-class Lukaku.
That's 1 in 3, and things 1 in 2.
That's not that far from a player who doesn't score that many goals and is a winger as well. And also, let's look at Lukaku outside the Serie A, which I'll come back to in a bit. What did he do in Champions League? Nothing. He had absolute stinkers in the Italian Cup when Inter Milan reached the semi-final, and they needed him to actually score, and he was such a wasteful striker in both home and away games. The other thing is, it's looking to me that it is a textbook panic by typical Chelsea when it comes to transfer windows, when we don't go for our main targets. If you look at it from this perspective, every tier 1 journalist across every platform said, if Chelsea pays £150 million, you will get Haaland. Fabrizio Romano said it. Jan said it, which is close to the Haaland camp, many times since day one, whether on ESPN or whether on the stream with Fabrizio Romano. So what for me, I agree with Mikhail when he said it's better not to actually spend this much money when we're not gonna end up getting Erling Haaland, because whether we get Lukaku or no, we're not winning the league, especially with City going for Grealish, potentially Harry Kane. Forget about the Premier League. And Thomas Tuchel, at the end of the day, he's going to be the victim, just like Mourinho before, just like Conte, just like Ancelotti, pulling up an absolute miracle, winning us the Champions League, and then end up getting sacked mid next season. And
Julius, You're assuming that Chelsea didn't make the 150 million pound bid, which we don't even know if that's true or not. So what if Chelsea put in that bid and they got rejected?
We didn't because we would have heard about it. That's how it works.
No,
well, that's the thing. We
have put a bid in for 130 million euros. That's been reported today. Well, there is an official or unofficial bid, but that was a price that was offered to Dortmund, and they rejected it flat out. And like Josh was saying, and like Max was saying, this bid is not just what is Chelsea offering in respect to Dortmund, because you have add-ons that are going to go to Erling Haaland's dad, his agent, and other fees. So we are looking at least 190 to 200 million euros for this deal. Now, me personally, I would still be happy to pay up to 200 million for Erling Haaland, because I believe Erling Haaland is a long, when we look at the long term, Erling Haaland makes more sense. And again, selling him would allow us to recuperate some of the money that we paid for him. We would probably end up getting a profit on the man in 3-4 seasons down the road. Nobody is arguing that. I'm sure Max would love to see Erling Haaland here. I'm sure Josh would love to see Erling Haaland here. The fact that we are talking about Lukaku in a positive light, it does not mean that we are not happy, that we don't want to see Erling Haaland. No, on the contrary, we would love to see Erling Haaland. But the fact that we are going for Lukaku is not something that we see as being negative. Maybe the price, some fans will have a debate about the price and whatnot. Me personally, I'm still in between, because I did rate Lukaku quite highly 2 seasons ago. Last season, with what he did with Inter Milan, was impressive. But again, his Euros was quite, limited in his performance.
They scored 4 goals still, didn't they?
I'm going on what Eric said about the eye test. The eye test, he didn't. He was slow. He was sluggish. So when I'm saying that I am content,
that team wasn't very good, to be fair, too, Baggy.
Hazard hasn't been performing for quite some time. But the point I'm trying to make is this. We need to look at this whole thing objectively. We have concerns, of course. We are going to have concerns. I agree with every point Julius made, every point Mikhail made, Bobby, everyone, Boogeyman. Everyone's points are valid, but at the same time, we need to understand that Chelsea have to get a top striker. And I don't care if you think Lukaku is world class, or you think he's decent, or you think he's average. Lukaku is one of the best right now when it comes to strikers in Europe.
Mo. Can I just add as well? I know Julius will disagree with this, but it has been reported more than once that Tuchel is actually interested in Lukaku. So obviously, whether I want to believe that or not, that's up to you. But if Tuchel is interested, that is enough for me. Like with all the issues we have, everybody, I don't think anybody, watching the stream or right here, thinks that it's a good deal in terms of the price. I don't think anybody is in favor of the amount of money, but the point is, despite the amount of money, if Tuchel wants him, then they're backing Tuchel. The club is backing Tuchel by approaching this player and trying to get him. So that for me is the major. That's more important than anything else for me. And
that's true.
So if Tuchel wants him, that's it.
Sorry, we're not saying anything against that. When the season starts, if Lukaku were number 9 or number 10 or number 19, all those fights we're having right now is over. Nobody cares about it anymore. But the fact is this: even if Lukaku, I'm going to be more controversial. Even Lukaku was free agent on the market right now, I wouldn't want him in Chelsea. He's not good enough. That's what my point is. I don't care about the price. He's not just good enough.
Yeah, but you're pushing it. You're pushing it.
Listen,
Boogeyman,
let me go to
you're
But he wants Danny
pushing it
Ings.
hard.
He doesn't want Lukaku, but he wants Danny Ings.
I'm living in truth, man.
For free, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
Boogie, he's the top
I'm
3
living-
to 5
I'm living.
striker in the world, Boogie.
Can
Top
I-
3
can
to
I
5 in the world.
Yeah,
He just
can I?
is.
Oh, thank you. I keep saying since some time now, every 2 months ago, Lukaku is not a Chelsea type. He's not. The team we have right now with all those talented boys, Lukaku is not gonna do anything good. My prediction is this: Lukaku playing with Chelsea, we're not winning the league next season. We're not winning the Champions League in the next 2 or 3 seasons. Lukaku will be expired. He will reach his 30 or 31st, and we cannot get rid of it. Then we're trying to buy a new striker. Chelsea's just gonna be a supporter, and then that's it. That's
I have a question for you.
No, what's time? 10:20. What's the time?
So-
11:24. 11:24 on the 3rd of August. Okay, I've marked that.
No, seriously.
I hope you will be
I
ready to
finished.
take some.
I have
1
to go now.
hour and 21 minutes of my stream.
Yeah,
that would be if
Baggy,
Lukaku-
thanks for having me tonight. And those
No,
are
no.
my prediction. I have to go for family reasons,
Before you go,
but I'm going with a lot of disappointment. Hopefully, Lukaku doesn't come to Chelsea.
Boogeyman,
If he
before you
comes,
leave,
I will support them. That's for sure. That's all I
but
want to say.
before
Yeah, guys.
before you leave, is he better than Tammy? Is Tammy better than him? Who's better?
Eric Blue.
Yes.
You know me for how many? You know my answer to that question. I don't know why you keep. I don't want him. I'd rather keep Lukaku. I will even promote Borja. I will even promote Borja.
Bye,
Then-
bye. See you.
Yeah, I will even promote Borja. Thanks, man.
See you later.
Wow.
Boogeyman, always controversial, and always a pleasure to have you on my stream.
Yo,
Boogeyman.
thank you, guys.
I look forward to the next one.
Boogeyman,
Yeah.
we love you, man, but you got to stop these predictions because you said this at the Champions League and see what happens.
Exactly. You embarrass yourself.
So, you got to stop. You got to get off that horse, boy.
No, the Champions League. I predicted we will win it.
No, you didn't.
Before the game.
You said the opposite.
I
but
predicted
listen-
actually that we're gonna get battered in the final.
Seriously?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Julius, you said that. Like you said, Man City are overrated. That's what you said.
I said,
At the end, I changed my mind.
Sidwaki,
Okay, you changed
hold
your
on,
mind.
hold on. Sidwaki is commenting. Listen, between you, Sidwaki, and Boogeyman, I think I would choose Bobby. You guys are worse than each other, man. You guys are worse than each other. Having you on the stream,
starting Boogeyman. Starting nonsense. We won't tell them.
Boogeyman and Sadwaki, having it on the stream, for me, it's a blessing because I love to hear controversial thoughts and opinions. It keeps it interesting. But sometimes you just go too far, both of you, Sadwaki and Boogeyman. But it is what it is.
It is. You just said the word. It is what it is, and we'll see each other the other time, man. Take care, guys. Bye.
Big up,
Have a good one.
Boogeyman.
Good night, Boogeyman. Good night. Take care, man.
Bye.
Free? I'll take him for free. That's too far. I'll absolutely take him for free.
Listen, lads, we have over 140 people in the stream, but we still haven't had 100 likes on the stream. So do me a favor, hit that like button if you haven't done it already. And if you haven't subscribed to the Blue Lounge, do it. You'll enjoy the content on here. We stream pretty much every night, discussing all the latest news and stories surrounding our club. And some nights they're heated, some nights they're nice and relaxed. But if you wanna get a dose of the Blue Lounge every night, make sure you subscribe and turn that bell notification button on, and give the stream a like. We're gonna be on for a little bit longer. Lads, is Chelsea making a mistake?
No, I think.
Be honest. Is Chelsea making a mistake?
No, I think Chelsea are doing what they have to do, guys. And the whole mission going into this summer was to get a top striker. They preferred to have Erling Haaland. I think everybody still preferred Erling Haaland just for the age and the resale, all the stuff we've mentioned. But Romelu Lukaku, guys, is a bag man. I don't care every place he's been, aside from a little stint at United where he got a little heavy. Ole started using him in weird ways, playing him on the wing. he's bagged the goals. I don't know. Like, I just don't understand. And I'm not saying everyone is slandering him, but like, it's not his fault that the price is the price, right? I mean, it is what it is in this market. You want a top 5 striker in the world. This is what you got to pay. And I wanted at Haaland as well, and we still haven't heard anything from the Haaland camp over the last week since Jan said give us 7 to 10 days. We've heard nothing. But if Chelsea have moved on and Romelu was their next target and they can get him, then you've got to be happy with the fact that they got him and they're getting him for a fair market value.
Sky Sports via Angelo Mangianti have just tweeted, Chelsea are now very close to #Lukaku, preparing a super new bid for 130 million euros. Again, a net salary of 12 million per season, which is what I think Fabrizio Romano tweeted earlier. Confirmed again by Angelo.
That's euros,
Mangianti.
by the way, which is 10 million, which works out to be 200,000 a week.
Yeah, which means the offer is probably 120 euros plus Alonso to get to 130. If they're going to put Alonso in the deal, it's probably 120 plus Alonso.
It's 120 plus Alonso or 100 without Alonso.
Alonso isn't actually mentioned in both of these tweets. Alonso hasn't been mentioned in both of these tweets, but he could be. He could be, but he wasn't mentioned.
This is investing in creating deadwood. We're going to hamstring ourselves for future transfer markets.
In your opinion,
an average player.
Baggy, can you just look at what Man City made last year for winning the Premier League? How much money they got for that? Just a quick. I don't know if you can Google really quickly. I think the price is somewhere around 130, 140 million for winning the Premier League last year. So if Romelu Lukaku comes in and Chelsea win the Premier League, the whole thing about not getting any money back or being a bad investment is null and void.
Yeah, I think to be fair, we do want to win the Premier League, but I think the first season is going to be tough. I think this is going to be the first full season for Tuchel, and I think our goal is to close that gap. Finishing in the top 4, but just closing the points gap, because what was it last season? Was it like 30 points gap between us and them?
19.
And Man City? 19? Okay. So closing that gap is where we are and where we want to be. The following season may be challenging for the Premier League, but I don't see it this season. And before I go to you, Max, a big shout out to Abdulaziz. Thank you very much for your donation. Abdulaziz is happy that we're getting Lukaku. Some of us are. Some of us are very happy. Some of us are content. Some of us are very unhappy. The Chelsea fan base is divided when it comes to Lukaku. But again, I think once he puts on that shirt, things are going to change. Go on, Max.
I was saying, okay, the gap was 19 points, yeah, but we missed out on at least 16 points, I'll say, by not having a proper striker to put a winner back in the net. I'm thinking of the 0-0s against Wolverhampton Wanderers, against the 1-1 draw against Southampton, Brighton. So even with when Tuchel did come into the side, we didn't have anyone to change those tight games into victories. So getting a striker in, we can do that. We can change those tight 0-0s or 1-1s into wins.
Yeah, I mean, we dropped 6 points to West Brom, so that's quite a big chunk of points right there, just in those 2 games.
Yep.
I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable to think we can make up 19 points with the striker.
I think you guys are still missing the point, though. Josh, Max, and Mo, you're not getting the point that we're trying to make. We are not going to win the league with Lukaku. If with all due respect, if you think we're going to win the league with Lukaku,
I just said our target is to close the gap. This season, I don't think it's realistic to think we're going to win the league.
Are we winning with Haaland then, Julius?
Yes.
Hold on. Can I say something? Haaland and Sancho were in a Dortmund side which struggled to make top 4. So why is he all of a sudden going to win the league with us next season?
Because of the players around him. Because of the players around him, Max.
Yeah, but he has some good players around him at Dortmund as well.
Oh, their defense is a joke.
Would you have said Inter were going to win the league with Lukaku last year?
Yes, I did.
Because I'd argue that
actually follow Inter.
That Inter team is worse than that Dortmund team. You could argue
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It is. That Dortmund team finished,
I mean,
got into the quarterfinals of the Champions League.
You're assuming. I think you're assuming that Lukaku will score like 10 goals or something. Because if you just add like 15 goals to what we did last season, we would be like comfortably top 4. We may have finished like second. We scored 58 goals. Add 10, 15 to that. What do you get? 75. You know, it's like. What I don't really follow this idea that we can't get closer.
I think we
I
can
think-
get closer,
I think
but Lukaku doesn't strike you as the kind of player, the Costa kind of player that'll get you crunch goals. Like, he'll get you goals, but is he gonna drag your team by the scruff of the neck across the finish line and make sure you do the podium? He doesn't give you that feeling necessarily.
Cast your mind back.
Do we really need him to do that though? We don't. This is a team. This is a very strong team, missing one piece.
You will
So
in
we're
some
not asking
games.
Lukaku to.
Right.
We're not asking Lukaku to take us by himself. He's got Havertz, Mount, Werner, Pulisic.
Yeah.
He's got. I mean, this guy Cho. He's got Reece James. He's got a very strong team around him. He doesn't have to carry anything by himself.
Yeah,
All
cast your
those
mind
players
back.
you named, he will only have 2 next to him in a 3-4-3.
Yeah, can I
Look,
say something
for-
as well?
for
Hold on,
100
hold on.
plus
Can I say
million.
something? I was trying to say something. Cast your mind back. Someone asked a question about could he score the clutch goals or to get us all the important goals? Cast your mind back. Chelsea against Everton a few years ago. Lukaku was in the Everton shirt. Was it quarter-final or semi-final of the FA Cup? Lukaku does a brilliant solo run, 1-0, scores a second goal, 2-0. He can score the clutch goals in important games.
15
Well,
and 58
for
goals.
over 100. Sorry. Go on, do this.
No, I'm just saying 15 goals in 58 games, world class, 130 million for a player like that. You know, it was
What?
really-
Sorry? 15 goals in what?
in 58 games against top 6. That's ridiculous.
Honestly, for over 100 million, he better do some carrying because we certainly should not be carrying him. You know,
I
you're
wanna
coming
ask-
in as a marquee. Do you know what that means? A marquee.
Yeah.
You are the man. So don't come with, he's coming into. He is coming to be the man at that price. He's going to be in a very, very good team, but he's going to be the man. And I don't think he's capable of doing that. He won't live up to that price tag.
I wanna, lads, just bear with me a second. DJ Sav in the chat. I'm hearing from you. I'm hearing from Jem, who was here earlier, and also some other people in the chat that the Haaland story is still developing, and that there may be something in the works. So can you guys send me a link? Send me something that that is indicating that, because I'm not finding it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing anything that indicates there is anything more to the Haaland deal. It's dead in the water. It's not happening. But I'm seeing people still having hopes that tomorrow morning we're going to wake up to hearing something positive with regards to the Haaland deal, and I don't know where that's coming from. So if anybody has a link to that, or if anybody can name a source that is saying that in the chat, let me know. And I don't know if you guys in the panel have seen anything like that. And if you have, just let me know, because I'm not seeing anything.
I think the thing is, Baggy, is like we haven't heard anything in the contrary from his camp. You know, there's been nothing from Dortmund, nothing from Jan about the deal being done and dead. Like, it's not happening. Jan is really the only guy, let's be honest, who is close to the Haaland family and is reporting stuff that is probably the most reliable from the Haaland side of things. And if we haven't heard anything other than the other day when he said, give it 7 to 10 days to let it play out, we've heard nothing from anybody in regards to that. And I know Dortmund were supposed to have an open training today, which they canceled, apparently due to a COVID issue. But many people are saying that Haaland is still in Norway and decided to stay in Norway. So I don't know if there's anything to that. But
Josh,
it could be possible.
Josh, would you say that Jan Ark Voitov, his point of view is skewed, it's biased, or or do you think he's just reporting regular journalism stuff? Or because I think he's biased. I think he's trying to push the deal for Haaland, and that's how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, he there could be some of that because he's close with the family, but it also, because he's close with the family, could be the most reliable of any. I mean, because from what I've heard from several different people, is that there have been NDAs signed in this deal with people not being able to talk about things from their side of the story. So if Jan is the closest guy to the whole thing, and he's saying in the next 7 to 10 days we'll have an answer on Haaland, then I'd say we got to kind of see that out. But it's up to Chelsea. Still have to do their due diligence and make sure that they're bringing a player in. So, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a little something there still to sort out.
Yeah, I mean, if whatever needs to happen, it needs to happen soon, man, because the deadline is this week. So
for Haaland, apparently.
If we get Haaland, I'll be the first one to be doing cartwheels because he's my preferred option. So I'd love him,
of course,
above Lukaku any day of the week. But
of course,
if we can't, then I'll take Lukaku.
I want to just address one point, which is a little bit off topic. But I want to address this because it's important. It's important. I tweeted about this earlier today, but I want to just mention something, lads, in the chat, lads watching the stream, watching this later on, watching it live. We are here debating, discussing the news. We are not creating, we are not reporting the news. We are discussing the news. Most of us Chelsea content creators have our platforms open for discussion and open for debate. Some may have a specific point of view, lean towards a specific Jim with his Anas Haaland. Yeah, a bit late, mate, but we'll get back to that. Some of us may have a perspective or a point of view that, want to see something happen and we push that narrative. But end of the day, we are here to open a platform for debate, and I don't like and I don't want to see people being targeted for this. I know one of my friends is being receiving some grief because of his push for the Haaland deal. He wanted to see the Haaland deal. He saw it in a very positive manner, but things have gone differently today, and because of that, people are giving him grief, and I don't want to see that. So please, take everything that you see and hear with a pinch of salt. None of us here are experts. Me myself, I'm just like you. I spend a lot of time, reading about the stories and researching. But end of the day, my information comes from the same place your information comes from. So please take everything with a pinch of salt. I want to give you guys a flip side to the Lukaku situation. If we are able to buy Romelu Lukaku from Inter Milan, it means they are not able to sell Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal. So, silver lining to a cloud, if you see it that way. What do you guys reckon?
Would he go there anyway? It'd be silly to go to Arsenal in the first place.
You know what? He didn't want to come to Chelsea last season, apparently because we were interested, and he didn't want to come to Chelsea. He wanted to go to Barcelona, but that didn't happen. So
he's not over 30 yet, so there's no point in him going to Arsenal at this point in his career. So
yeah, but he should come to Chelsea for a couple of years and then go to Arsenal. It makes more sense that way.
No, they come to Chelsea after they've been in Arsenal, so they can experience the championship.
Then they can go back to Arsenal to retire.
Yeah, they go retire.
Lads, the window, if it finishes as such, we signed Koundé. We've got Marcus Benatelli. We get Lukaku and Tchouaméni. Good window.
Fantastic window.
I'll say so. Yeah,
fantastic.
Tchouaméni scored today too. I don't know if anyone saw that for Monaco, but he scored another goal today for Monaco in their qualifier. But yeah, I think if you get Tchouaméni, you get Koundé, and you get one of the top two strikers, it's a 10 out of 10 window, 100%.
I haven't been paying attention to the Kunde. Sorry, I will be paying attention to Chouameni, but depending on how much he would cost, maybe like 30 million max.
Who?
Chouameni.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we get him as well, that would be like I was expecting just like 2 or 3 signings. So if we sign all 4 of those players, that would be it would be an amazing window.
Oh yeah, stacking up Deadwood. That's what it's gonna be.
No, but even if you say one of them is Deadwood, what about the other ones?
Why was nobody talking about Chouameni 5 months ago? Where did this come from?
We were.
I never
so you don't
saw
like
anyone
Chouameni?
talking about it. No, neither.
I was talking about
Twitter or
Chouameni for ages.
But
And
He's
look
playing
at
average.
DJ Sev is in the chat. He's been mentioning this guy for months. Look back at Bagger's. Sorry, Mo's. Look back at Mo's things. We've been speaking about Chouameni before. Chouameni is a good top talent.
The same
That's what
logic
everyone
applies.
said about Bakayoko as well.
No. The same logic applies to what you said.
Much different. Much different.
It's a lot
would you buy
different. So what about
Fabinho?
Fabinho? He came from Monaco. So don't be reactionary just because of one.
Exactly?
player.
Yeah.
Fabregas, as
Max,
said,
Max, is the Rice situation dead in the water now?
They're not budging on 100 million. So for me, it's gone. Yeah.
And Rice is still not prepared to sign an extension to his contract.
Chelsea believe they can get Rice cheaper next season if they wait. If they really want him, then they'll get him when his contract's got a couple of years to run.
Yeah, he's got. I think he has 3 years with a fourth year club option. So it's like an extension really would just be a pay raise. So if Chelsea can hold out, I'm not a big Rice fan, to be honest with you. I think Chouameni has a much higher upside because he offers several different things and he plays several different positions. But yeah, I don't think there's anything there with Rice this summer.
It makes a lot more sense to buy Chouameni for like less than half the price than to spend 100 million on Rice. It's the same logic with the whole Lukaku thing. So by that same logic, you would. Chouameni is not that much, like even if you want to say Rice is better than Chouameni, which you can definitely argue is not, the price is a huge thing you have to consider.
The thing is with Declan Rice, there will be an opening for him in the next couple of seasons.
Why wait?
No, because right now, bringing Chouameni in, he will establish himself.
Yep.
And then he can carry on, and Declan Rice will come in, and I think Declan Rice will come in to take over from Kante. I think Kante is he's still got it, but we're going to see him injured more often. We're going to see him acquiring rest more often. Kante, you all know the way the man plays. He's got an engine on him. The man runs the 90 minutes. He's not stopping. That has a toll on him. He can't do that every single game, week in, week out, twice a week, because we are going to be playing twice a week for most of the season.
Yeah.
So Kante will be replaced. A replacement needs to be made. Needs to be found. Chouameni might be a big part player this season, but I think he'll be taking more of a role moving forward. Declan Rice coming in next season cheaper, or the season after that even more cheaper.
Yeah.
Taking over from Kante.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance Jorginho and Kovačić could both be gone next year. So there'll be a couple spots in that midfield open. Gilmore will come back. But yeah, Chouameni, I think because of his age, he'll be more willing to come off the bench this year as that, third or fourth midfielder. And then, like you said, maybe in a year or two, you can revisit Rice to bring in. But it's hard for me to even say anything about N'Golo. He's just such a class player. And, I don't think he'll be much replacing for him, at least for the next couple of years. But yeah, I think that makes complete sense. Revisit this in a couple more years.
Yeah, but I think we'll get the best out of N'Golo Kante when we have more depth in the squad, because he's able to have that rest. He's able to, because we don't want to see him playing, the easier matches. We want to see him ready and fit to play the top 6 games, the Champions League games. We want to see him be used correctly, and having a backup to him will allow us to do that.
Yeah, the reason why
guys,
he's so effective last season was because Tuchel rested him in a lot of the games. Remember, he didn't play for a few games. He had Jorginho, Kovačić, and he came in towards the tail end when he was fully fit, and he gave us his best performances.
I wanna ask you guys a question. I don't want to go too far away from the Lukaku story, and I'm going to start with Mikhail, because Mikhail has been quiet for a little bit. I want to ask Mikhail this question, and this question is open to everyone. Do you guys think that Lukaku does have unfinished business? Do you think Lukaku is motivated to come back to Chelsea and to, achieve success with this club before his career ends? I mean, if he does come to Chelsea, this is literally his last opportunity to play, with the big boys and in the big league, because after Chelsea, he's probably going to go to the MLS or go to the Middle East or somewhere where it's more competitive. Do you think he is motivated to achieve success with Chelsea? And I'm going to start with Mikhail on this.
I don't know how to answer that. Here's the thing. He doesn't capture my imagination. I don't wake up in the morning on game day waiting to see how Lukaku is going to play today. That's just the way it is. It's my opinion. Whether he has unfinished business or not, time will tell. Right? It depends on what he does once he gets back and how he performs. Power to him. If he comes back, he puts on the blue shirt, I'll support him. I have no issues with the player, with the person. I was sad to see him go the first time around. We should have hung on to him back then, perhaps. But it is what it is. At this point, my opposition, quote unquote, to the concept or the thought of him coming at the prices that are being mooted right now is just that you could take that money and perhaps invest it in other areas on the pitch as well. But it's not my money, and maybe there's endless loads of money sitting around, so it doesn't really matter how much we spend on Lukaku. If he comes, I think he will be looking to make a mark. I think we will gain from his being part of the team compared to what we have right now, and I think that's the context that one has to take.
Yeah.
Can I go next? Because I got to go.
Yeah.
So for me, what we've got to remember, even as a 17-year-old, and this is where I've got to disagree with Julian on this, that he doesn't want to come to us. He's a Chelsea supporter. Yeah, we knew that from when he was a kid. He admired Didier Drogba. Okay, so this guy is a fan. He was done dirty under Mourinho when he missed that penalty in the Super Cup, and that's why he left in the end. There's nothing better than a player coming back who's motivated. Yeah, he's got a point to prove. He was discarded by Chelsea, and he wanted to come back to us when under Conte, but obviously we had the issues with Miraola, so that's why he didn't come back then. This guy, he's come back. He loves the club, supporter, unfinished business. So I think he'll give us his all. Yeah. As I said, I'd like Haaland to come, but if you look at Haaland, if reports are to be believed, he didn't even want to come to us a few weeks ago. He said we're not big enough. We didn't have. I don't know how true those reports are. Obviously, you just go by what you read in the paper. But at the time, we were under consideration. Once we won the Champions League, that's when we became an attractive option for him. And he's not going to show the same loyalty for us. I think he'll be with us for about 3 or 4 seasons, and then Riola's going to be looking for his next move. Whereas if Lukaku comes, he's going to come with a purpose, and I think he'll do well. Obviously, I haven't got a crystal ball. He may flop, you never know. But I just think that he'll put in the numbers and he'll get us challenging for the league. All right, nice talk to you guys. I've got to shoot, and I'll see
Max,
you guys later.
Take care. Take care. Max. We'll see you in the next stream. Take care, brother. Have a good one. Good night.
Take care, Max.
Good night, Max.
Good night, Max.
I'll go to Bobby. Bobby, your thoughts on this?
Wow. Will he be motivated? And does he have a point to prove? Just like Michaela, I think that's left to be seen. It's hard to say. Can he be within his self-motivation and his point to prove? Can he be the player we're paying for? Is more the question I am asking. Because, if you come and you're motivated and you're determined because you feel you have a point to prove, but you're not capable, it's a bit of a damp squid, isn't it? It's a negative return. But if you're capable, then the sky's the limit. My only hope for this Lukaku deal is the players around him. I hope they feed him, they create the space for him to do what he's there for, and that's score the goals. That's my hope, because for this level of investment, I'm not just looking at the investment, I'm looking at the impact to future investments and to purchases in other areas of the pitch. I don't know, that's also left to be seen, but I think it inhibits us enough to stop us making some deals in the future. Now, if we win the Premier League, apparently the prize money could compensate for that, but that's a big if, very big if at the moment.
But there isn't much difference in prize money, Bobby, between the top four teams. It's single-digit millions. It's like 3-4 millions between coming in fourth and coming in first.
Well, if we're still talking top four after spending over 100 million on a striker, that is unforgivable.
I'm gonna let Julius come in. Julius, is he motivated? Does he have a point to prove?
Yeah, of course he's going to be motivated, and he has a point to prove, because that's his personality. He's so self-centered, and he does talk a lot, and he doesn't let the performance speak on the pitch, in my opinion. He's very overrated, and playing in the Serie A, very tactical, rigid league. I watch Serie A quite a lot. I follow it as much almost as the Premier League, and I do follow Inter Milan specifically because I like Inter Milan. So having too much time on the ball, having too much space, that will not happen in the Premier League. And Lukaku likes to come from. I heard. I think someone said he was used as a winger in Man United. To be honest with you, if you watch him with Inter Milan, he's actually coming from the right wing all the time as well. But the difference is he has a lot more time on the ball in Serie A, because it's so tactical. When you're a defender, you have a specific area that you can move within. Not like the Premier League, it's all press, high line. Kind of, basically, you have so much more freedom as a player. So from that end, I really think Lukaku will be a bang average 140 million, basically, a striker that will not contribute in us winning a league. And also being a part of setting up or facilitating for Man United to go get a Haaland next season. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the possibility of Man United getting Haaland next season is quite high. I think with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer being their head coach, the Norwegian connection there, with the history that they have, with the potential that they have, with Jadon Sancho being there, one of his former teammates. There is an opportunity for Man United to land Haaland, and we could be contributing to that. I see your point.
Also, Bagi, before one more thing. Sorry, more thing. I want to say, I find it absolutely painful to see Chelsea fans celebrating us getting Lukaku when we know for sure there is a very, very high chance he's going to go to Man U. This is what people need. Like, if you think outside the box a little bit, that's why it's better to sacrifice this transfer window, not go pay 100 plus whatever on him when we have maybe more financial power next season to go for him. So I will not celebrate or be happy at all signing Lukaku for this much money when I know there is a very high chance Haaland going to Man U, and we're gonna be turned into absolute jokes, especially if we don't end up winning the league or something next year. So,
Yeah. Josh, I just saw your message, mate. No worries, mate. Get on Twitter. Get on Twitter. I'll add you to the group, and then you can jump on a more regular basis. Thank you for being here, Josh. Appreciate you. Julius, you know, it's a funny one. It's a funny one because we're talking about ifs and buts, a lot of ifs and buts, and we don't really know exactly why Chelsea didn't get Haaland. I don't, you know, it's a funny one because I think there will be a lot that is going to become more apparent over the next few days to why this deal apparently collapsed. And it's gonna shed a lot more light on the situation, because I don't think Chelsea refused to pay or decided not to pay the asking price. I think there was other aspects, because I think Chelsea would pay what is required unless there was things that were not so straightforward in regards to the deal. I'm going to give you. I'm going to go to Eric, and then I'm going to give you a minute to give me your final thoughts on this, because I think that there is still more to discuss, but I think we've been on the stream for far too long, and we'll carry on the discussion tomorrow. But I will give you final thoughts before we conclude. But before we do that, Eric, do you think Romelu Lukaku is motivated and is coming to finish something, to add to his legacy? And also, before you answer this, Eric, the decision to come to Chelsea is left in Lukaku's hands rather than Inter Milan. Inter Milan will agree the bid, whether or not they are prepared to let him go. But end of the day, Lukaku is the one that's going to decide whether he wants to come to Chelsea or refuse Chelsea. And reports that we've heard in the past suggested that he didn't want to come to Chelsea. Whether or not they were accurate, we don't know. But if he does come to Chelsea, it's because he wants to come to Chelsea. Again, does he have finished business, Eric?
Like not Julius, Mikhail. Like Mikhail said, I agree with what he said. I was upset and disappointed when Lukaku left, in the circumstances he left, and I do feel he has unfinished business. I think he has the motivation. You know, he has the extra sort of he would give, you know, extra efforts. I think he would put in more efforts because of his affiliations, because he's a Chelsea supporter. You know, he brings that intangible sort of aspect, which, you know, Julius obviously mentioned that for Declan Rice, but he didn't really bother with mentioning that for Lukaku. You know, that's the case. I think he does have a point to prove. I think he wants to make a statement if he comes. You know, hopefully he wants to come. I don't think we're in a position to be picky and, you know, try and say, oh no, Lukaku isn't good enough for us because we can wait. What makes us think we'll wait and then Haaland will wait for us next season? So I don't believe that we should wait and assume that somehow, you know, like when you say United have a better chance of getting Haaland, that may be the case next season. Even if even if we are in for Haaland next season, that may still be the case. And the chances of us getting Haaland next season are very slim, very slim. So this idea that you can just keep that money and just hope that something will work out, you know, later on, I'm not sure how it's gonna work out. I really don't. I don't know how, because in the end, if you don't get a striker, you go in for Haaland next season, you don't get him, you try to get Lukaku, you try to get Benzema, you try to get Lewandowski, none of them are available. Then what? You know, it looks even worse than possibly overspending. For me, Lukaku, he has a lot to prove. He's better than people say he is. Even the people who watch him in Syria, I feel as if people just have a people just don't like. People have their reasons for not liking him, but I feel like it's difficult for people to give him credit for certain things he does. So if he comes to the Premier League, I expect him to help us. Maybe he won't help us win the league, but he'll help us get closer. He'll help us challenge. He'll help us not scrape top 4 in the last week of the season, like we did three seasons in a row, or maybe 4 seasons in a row. So it's about progression. Maybe the money, everybody knows the money is too much, but we're not in the position to be, hoping for the best. We always want the best outcome, but we're not in the position to be expecting that everything will work out exactly the way we want. This is the way it is. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet, make that tough decision, and as much as we don't like it, Chelsea have made some horrible decisions in the past, but we just still have to hope that things work out. So for me, this is hardly a bad decision. This is not a flop deadwood signing like Bakayoko and Drinkwater. I don't believe that. So I really believe that this is the right move. Not the right price, but it is the right decision. So yeah, I mean, when you just think about we have so many competitions: FA Cup, League Cup, Club World Cup, Super Cup. We have a lot of competitions. Champions League. We need somebody there. We do. So I hope it happens, and whatever happens, obviously, I'm putting myself out there. I already said I wanted him. I said I think he will do well. Obviously, if he doesn't, whatever. I'm not too bothered how, I'm not too bothered about being wrong. So yeah, let's just see what happens, man.
Yeah, no, I think you've answered my question. You've also given us your final thoughts all in one. Eric, thank you for that. I think the picture is still gonna become even more clearer over the next few days. Again, we haven't seen anything concrete yet. It's looking like the deal is gonna happen, but only a week ago we had the same feeling in regards to Koundé. And then Zuma decided not to want to go to Sevilla. His price has been debated with West Ham. He might be staying. Last week he was on the way out. This week is Zuma staying at Chelsea. So, what we know today may not necessarily be the case tomorrow. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Bobby, give me your final thoughts, mate, in regards to what we know and what we've heard and what we've read and what we've seen in regards to the Lukaku today. Bobby, you there? I think Bobby might be away. Mikhail?
Yeah. Final thoughts. I'm kind of glad I jumped on because it helped me kind of hear other perspectives as well and be a part of some venting, I guess, as well. Is what it is. It's not my money. As long as he gives us something more than we had last season, all the power to him. If he's going to be our striker, we're going to support him. That's where we have to leave it.
Yeah, no, spot on, and that's a very, very important point for us as Chelsea fans. We should discuss. We should listen and hear what others have to say. We all have opinions. We all have perspectives on this, but it's always good to hear the opinion of others and agree, disagree, not a problem. But let's hear each other out. And end of the day,
100%.
we all want to see Chelsea succeed. We all, if Lukaku comes in the Chelsea Football Club, Mikhail, Boogeyman, Bobby, Julius, they'll all be supporting him and they'll all be celebrating him scoring a goal and him, achieving success. Because at the end of the day, if you play for Chelsea, the success that you achieve is the success that Chelsea's going to achieve, and we're all going to be back in.
Golden boot.
hopefully, why not? And hopefully, he can show us, a Drogba-esque performance every now and then. Let's see. Bobby, are you back? Bobby? No, I think we've lost Bobby. Listen, guys, it's been a fantastic stream. It has been a fantastic stream, a great debate, a great discussion. I really, really enjoyed it because, it's good to have a bit of a heated discussion every now and then. Get things out there, get things heard, and hear what people have to say. I think it's healthy, and we've had that today. For everyone who has been on the stream, thank you. We didn't hit 150 likes. We didn't hit it. We're on 128. If you're still in the stream and you haven't hit that like button, I'd ask you to hit that like button on your way out as we end the stream. And if you enjoyed it and you haven't subscribed, do us a favor and click that subscribe button. Change it from red to blue. Appreciate you all. Have a good night, and I'll see you all in my next stream. Good night, lads.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Good night. Up the